Welcome to Focus on the Candidates. I'm Cynthia Pooler. My guest today is Kyle Little, and Kyle is running for Congress in the state of New Jersey.
hmm
So, Kyle, like we were just talking, you're into, exercise and stuff like that, and you teach it. What made you get involved in becoming a candidate for Congress?
I'm also I'm a small business owner of a fitness facility.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so I making what got me involved was really what motivated me was honestly Donald Trump getting reelected. That's what motivated me to get into Congress because to get into the fight because I'm a African American openly gay man who's a small business owner who also is an adjunct college professor at a university, who also is the grandson of I'm blessed because I'm the grandson of two 91-year-old grandparents.
Oh,
And
nice.
I also have a sister who is 12 years younger than I am. So she's only 25 and she wants to have kids in a few years. So so when you talk about women's reproductive rights, I'm all about women's reproductive rights. God forbid, my sister was having complications with her pregnancy. I want
Mm-hmm.
her to be able to get the reproductive care that she needs.
Mm-hmm. So,
So,
do you
yeah,
have any nieces and nephews?
you said, do I have nieces and nephews? Oh yeah, yeah, a bunch of them.
Okay. So, when you made the decision to run for Congress, um, what was your next steps?
My next steps were to file, to file and get in the race. I was actually challenging an incumbent Democrat, who Miss Bonnie Watson Coleman, who I have a lot of respect for. But I really feel like it's time for new leadership in Congress, and especially amongst the Democratic Party, because you know um, we just have people in there who are set in their positions, and they're not coming up with any new ideas, any bold ideas. And we need like just a new generation of leadership. Other countries have progressed a lot more than we have because they have leaders who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, not people constantly in their 70s and 80s,
Right.
leading, making all the laws in the country. So that motivated me originally. So I challenged her because I originally wanted to have her mentor me. Being that she's been the congresswoman for the past 10 years, I wanted to have her like mentor me through the process. But at the time, her team wanted her to stay in the race. So even though she is 80 years old, they wanted her to stay in the race. And so at one point, I was challenging her. But recently, just about 2 weeks ago, she said that she's not going to run for reelection. And that was after I made a public statement saying that, she should consider retiring because it's time for a new generation of leadership.
Hmm.
Not to say that, older people are not great and not to say that she's not great, but it's time, it's always time to pass the torch.
Right.
Um, and so since then, now I have a bunch of opportunists who have jumped in a race. I have the mayor of East Brunswick, New Jersey, who's jumped in a race. The mayor of Plainfield, New Jersey. I also have an assemblywoman who is down in the Trenton area, and I have a county commissioner of Somerset County. So these are all people who are in the establishment of the Democratic Party. So my campaign is literally rooted in get the people. It's a people power campaign. I'm asking for donations from just your everyday person. Like small donations here and there from your everyday person to help this campaign be people powered and not powered by the Democratic establishment.
So, you're soon to step down Congresswoman. She's up there in years. So, since every office has a time when you could uh run for it like president, you have to be 35 to be president or 25 to be in Congress.
Mhm.
Do you think there should be an age limit where,
Absolutely.
where
Absolutely.
what would you say that age would be?
Well, it should be 65 or around 65 because 65 is the retirement age, the typical retirement age in this country. So
Right.
if the typical retirement age in this country is like that for any other job, it should be like that for Congress as well. I don't see why the lawmakers are, have to be, by the time you're 65 and older, and I don't know how old you are, but I just feel like people should be enjoying their life, enjoying their retirement, taking their rest. If they have grandkids, hang with the grandkids. Do things like that. Don't like right now I have the mayor who just entered the race in Plainfield. His birthday is 2 days before mine. His birthday is on December 2nd. Mine is on the 4th. So I'm turning 37. He's turning 69. Meaning that when the elections comes up and this new house gets sworn in, he'll be 70. I don't feel that it's appropriate to have people 70 years old entering their freshman term in Congress. Like you're not, at that age you should be retiring. Like and it just goes to show who's really in it for the benefit of the people and who's in it just to get a pay grade. Because again, he's a mayor right now, and he's trying to both of the mayors. The other mayor, the mayor of East Brunswick, he's 65. So he'll be 66 or 67 just entering Congress for the first time. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, we don't need that. We need, especially with the Trump administration. We need, my generation, we have a lot more fight in us. And I'm also not some spring chicken. Like I said, I'm going to be 37. I'm not 18, so I've been able to go to the bar and buy a drink for years now. I could do every single thing. I'm a business owner. I have two established businesses under my name. So when you talk about experience, I'm literally educating college students to get degrees to do what I do. So if you want to try to act like I'm younger and I don't know what I'm doing, I'm more, and the fact that I've been running in the race before all of you, I have more experience even running in a congressional race 6 months before the rest of you. So even though you're already, it's just like I have way more experience just doing life, everyday life, human daily activities than these people even do.
Mhm. So you're basically running in a primary against the establishment, more or less.
And I always was. I always was. If I was going against an incumbent Democrat, I was already. So these people are actually like, like they're nothing to me because I was ready to take on an incumbent congresswoman who was already in Congress and
Right.
go against her. So now I'm going against mayors and things like that, but they're already under.
Right. So how has your fundraising been?
The fundraising is hard. The fundraising is very, very challenging. Especially in today's economy. People just don't have the money.
Right.
People don't have the money, and but it's going little by it's getting there little by little.
Have you received any money from outside PACs?
No, so I don't accept outside, like I don't accept big corporate PACs money. Now, like small PACs is fine. Like there's a LGBTQ victory fund that I applied to. I'm in a fraternity in which my fraternity has a PAC. Um, you know, separate from because fraternities and sororities they can't directly give donations to campaigns. But like so small PACs are fine. But like these large corporations, no, I don't accept any money from those.
Or like APAC?
Yeah, no, I don't do APEC.
Okay. So you're running against a number of establishment politicians. How has the party been treating you?
Well, the party is non-existent when it comes to treating me. I mean, like when you're running against an incumbent, nobody ever reaches back out to you. So, I mean, like originally when I first entered the race, I sent an email to all of the, and these are Democratic mayors. I sent the email to like all of the Democratic mayors in the bigger towns within the district. None of them replied to me. Even like other councilmen and things like that. No, nobody replies because they don't want to go against an incumbent. You know, um, but I just do what I do what I do. It's not about I can really care less about an establishment, to tell you the truth. It's about the people. The establishment doesn't vote. People go to the polls and vote. So
Right.
like that's why I just have to hit the ground running. Like there's these old way of politics that these people still think about things. AOC was able to get out an incumbent Democrat because she hit the ground. She knocked on doors. She built a coalition around her and was able to get her word out to the people and was able to beat off an incumbent. Same thing that just happened with Mondani in New York. He Andrew Cuomo was the governor of the state, and
Mhm.
he couldn't even he lost the mayoral race in New York City itself. You know,
Right.
so like this younger generation, we have a little bit we have a little bit of a different angle that we work with, and a different drive.
What I found very interesting about Cuomo's campaign is he didn't understand that things have changed over the years, and he
Mhm.
kept doing it the way, he did it like even when his father was governor, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and Andrew Cuomo is got to be in his high 60s by now, and yeah, like closer to 70 years old. And
Right,
if you're thinking about when your father was governor, you're talking about somebody who would be in their 90s or almost 100 years old right now.
right,
So
right,
you're
right.
talking about things from years ago. When Andrew Cuomo's father was governor, I don't even think I was born. um
Okay.
so
In 82, he won his first governorship in 82. So that was quite a while ago.
yeah, and I was born in 88, so there you go.
Okay, okay. So, as far as the press, people have the ability to create their own press with,
Absolutely.
with social media and, the different YouTube and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So, ha- do you rely more on alternative media, or how has the mainstream media been treating you?
So, yeah, I definitely rely a lot on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Of course, I have a website. I'm on YouTube. So I do all of that. Social media, and I do a lot of. I have an ad actually that I'm gonna release today within the district. That I'm planning to get a lot of name recognition out of that ad.
Okay, that sounds great. So has the mainstream media been contacting you for interviews?
Some of them, not really. Originally when I first launched my campaign, uh, New Jersey Globe, they contacted me and they did an interview with me. Um, I've been on a couple podcasts in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Mhm.
Plainfield is a town in my district with a majority minority population. So the town is predominantly Black and Hispanic, and so like they've reached out to me. I've been like there for a couple podcasts. Um, and then certain things I've just released to the press that sometimes they have put out. Like when the case was brought to the Supreme Court about overturning same-sex marriage. Of course, I had a lot to say about that because I'm an openly gay man who's married.
Mhm.
And I reached out to the press. In Insider New Jersey, they did write an article based on my feelings about it. So some of the press has gone out, but what I haven't the press right now is kind of seeing me as an underdog, being that everybody else is in the establishment. I'm like the underdog right now. Um, So literally the day that Bonnie Watson Coleman said that she is not seeking reelection, Chanel Robinson and Brad Cohen, who's the Chanel Robinson is the Somerset County Commissioner, and then Brad Cohen, he's the mayor of East Brunswick. They jumped into the race. So they mentioned them, and then they mentioned me like, oh yeah, Kyle Little, he's a less well-known Democrat with not as much fundraising. So, like they kind of put me as like that, that lesser option.
Hmm. Wow. So, right before we started the interview, you were telling me about the things that you do. I
Hmm.
mean, you're into physical fitness and you're an adjunct professor. So
Hmm.
tell everybody about your interest in physical fitness and
Well,
what you teach.
okay. So I have been active all my life. Like growing up, I played basketball, I played soccer, ran track. So I was always active, and then went to college and wanted to maintain being active. I pledged the fraternity, and in the black fraternities we do a lot of stepping and things like that. So I choreographed a lot of the steps and was always just active. So I said, I want to look into this because originally I was a business major. I entered as a business major, and I took a couple business classes, and I was like, no, this is not for me. So I switched over to exercise science. And then when I did my internship at the Verizon Wireless Health and Wellness Center in Baskin Ridge in Bedminster, New Jersey. And that's when I got like the hands-on experience, actually personal training people one-on-one on an everyday basis. And I was like, you know what? This is it right here. This is what I like to do. I like to network with people. I like to help people get in shape and change their lives. So after that, of course, I graduated with my degree in exercise science in 2011. Went back to graduate school and got my master's in 2014 in exercise science. And I worked at pretty much every gym. Like I'm talking about every big name gym in the area. So I worked at Bally Total Fitness back in the day. You remember Bally Total Fitness, right? I worked at Retro Fitness. I worked at LA Fitness, two different YMCA's. I worked at Workout World or Jersey Strong, as we call it here in New Jersey. So, like all of the big name gyms, especially here in New Jersey, I've worked at them, and I was able to take certain aspects from the way each gym was run and put it into my own company. And it got to the point that when I graduated with my master's degree, I said, well, why am I still working for these gyms when I literally had more education than my bosses and the managers and the owners?
Mhm.
Not too many people who are personal trainers can honestly say that they have a master's degree in the field. So I said, you know what? These gyms are charging the client $60 a session. As a level three trainer, as the top trainer, they're paying me like $12 out of the $60 that they're charging the client.
Wow.
And I'm like, I could charge the client less and keep all of the money for myself in my own profit. So that's
Mhm.
when I opened up my first studio. I established a business, and I originally trained out of my mom's garage,
Wow.
and but built up my clientele and everything like that, and opened my first storefront location in November 1st 2016.
Mhm.
And then I expanded after COVID because I had like other instructors who were clients of mine, but like they were like Zumba instructors, and they were like, "Oh, we can help you. We can help you." I mean, now looking at it in hindsight, I'm like, now they're no longer with me. So I'm like, but
Mhm.
and so now I'm always like scrambling for new instructors. But anyway, I opened up a second location to do like group classes. So I do Zumba and yoga, and I'm an extreme hip hop instructor. I teach body sculpting, core and abs. Like we do like a lot of different classes at my other location as well. So now it's like a full fitness facility. I have two locations, and I've had two locations for over 3 years now.
Do you have a YouTube channel for exercise?
Yes, I do. I do. But I don't post. I'm not able to post on YouTube like I want to. But I do have one. Yes, I have a YouTube channel, and I have excuse me, an Instagram and a TikTok and a Facebook.
So what's the problem with YouTube?
It's no problem with it. It's just that I don't have the time for it. So I need like a I need like another social media person to just like run my YouTube account and market the YouTube account.
Right. But that could be pretty lucrative if you did that right.
I think so. I mean, if my my videos are getting enough hits and everything, I think so. Yeah.
Hmm. Because I subscribe to a number of exercise YouTube channels, and they get a lot of hits.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yep. Now there seems to be, I don't know if it's done by the politicians or the press, but there's a lot of hate and division in this country. What would you do to solve that?
Well, I just try to bring people together. I try to bring people together as best as I can because I know what it means to feel hated. Again, I'm an African American male and I'm openly gay. So I I know what it means to be a descendant of enslaved people in this country and to be an openly gay man who's targeted by any and every race, of people. It doesn't. Matter what your race is. So I am able to relate to people, like I had for instance, I had a conversation with the Muslim community in New Jersey 12. There's a lot of Islamophobia going on, and just told them that I would be an advocate for them. Now, with being an advocate for them, that does not mean that I'm going to be like super pro Palestine, nor am I going to, I could also like get in contact and talk to like the Jewish community and be against anti-Semitism. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be super pro Israel either. I think that we need to come to a place where both places and all people who are citizens within New Jersey's 12th district can live in peace. I also want to just shut down like all of the rhetoric that basically the Trump administration and these Republicans they put out all the time. Like there's no such thing as an immigrant coming and taking jobs. Immigrants are not coming here and getting hired before you. Like if anybody could tell me a situation where they apply for a job and a person has literally come off the boat from another country and gotten hired before them, then that's not then and I guarantee you no one can. So we have to really think about things in reality and think about things like the realistic way instead of just listening and echoing and regurgitating all of these sentiments of hate that we have towards people. You know, another thing is like gay and trans people. I'm like, when has a gay or a trans person ever taken your health care away? When has a gay or trans person ever done anything to negatively impact your life? When how is it any of your business if I'm in my house that I pay for with my husband? That's none of your business and that has no effect on your life.
Mhm.
So again, now if that does have an effect on that like on your life, then that's your problem, not mine. Because I can really care less, like it has none of your business, and again, it has no effect on your life. So like I really shut down like all of this rhetoric. When people are talking about, oh well, we don't want the LGBTQ community corrupting our kids, and we don't want. When is anybody in these schools teaching your son or your daughter how to change their gender? That doesn't happen. I'm an educator. I've been in school most of my life in some form. I've never seen a drag queen walking down the hallways corrupting kids. I've never seen so like we have to really think about things in reality and know what's actually in front of us instead of just thinking about hateful things. I'm like, if you're poor probably either because you came from poverty and never were able to get out of it, but you're not poor because of black people made you poor or gay people made you poor or immigrants made you poor, or it's a lot of the blame game. A lot of time, and a lot of times, honestly, when people are going into the voting booth and voting, they're voting against their interests. I'm like, you can't, like you literally, unless you are, and I'll say this, unless you are a straight, heterosexual, wealthy white man, there is no reason why you should be voting for Donald Trump. Unless you tell me how voting for somebody like that can positively impact your life, and I guarantee you, and again, you can't. All of these people do who vote like that is they just spread hate. Oh, I don't want the LGBTQ plus. It's like you have to vote in your best interest. What do you want as a person? Who is going to be the candidate who is going to best impact your life for the better?
Right.
Not when I talk to people are always telling me what they don't want. Oh, I don't want immigrants coming here and getting hired in front of me. Or I don't want the LGBTQ plus coming, like that's not telling me that's telling me everything that you're against. That's not telling me what you're for.
Hmm.
So are you gonna vote for the candidate who wants to give women reproductive rights? Are you going to vote for someone who says, God forbid any woman is dying and bleeding out during childbirth? I think she should be able to have the right to protect herself and protect her body. If you're a black person, why are you going to vote for any candidate who wants to give police officers full immunity to shoot you? Knowing that black people are targeted by police officers a lot more. And we die at 2 to 3 times the rate, even being unarmed by police officers. So, or why would you vote for the people who want to end, we don't get hired for jobs as much. So why would you vote for people who want to end diversity, equity, and inclusion? Or if you're again, if you're an immigrant, if you are a Latino, why would you vote for people who just want to send ICE to your neighborhoods and deport people? If you're Muslim, why would you want to vote for somebody who had a Muslim ban and didn't even want Muslims coming into the country? Our diversity is what makes us great as a country, not our differences. We should be able to like live peacefully and accept each other's differences and celebrate each other's differences. That's the type of person I am. I love going to get Mexican food. I love learning about other cultures, and I love getting even sometimes I'll even go get Chinese food. I love celebrating different things. I like dancing to reggae music. I like dancing to salsa music. I just love other cultures.
Hmm.
So like that's what really makes me passionate, and I try to just do away with all of the hate and the division because it's literally false. Like when these people say things, it's literally in their head and it doesn't even make sense.
I'm gonna touch upon three foreign policy issues.
Okay.
Venezuela. How do you feel about that?
Venezuela, I mean, the Trump administration is crazy with all of that. Now, Venezuela has like their own issues when it comes to like a lot of the I guess the division in their own country. In the division in their own country, but I don't think that it's something that the United States needs to really be getting ourselves into too much.
Um, the Middle East, the Palestine-Israeli issue.
Yeah, yeah. There needs to be a ceasefire in Gaza. There needs to be a ceasefire. The staggering number of Palestinians that have been killed is heartbreaking. And it's been about 70,000 of them now. Now, just because I say that doesn't mean that I'm a Hamas supporter. There's people who like to spin your narrative. So they say, God forbid you speak out and call for a ceasefire. Now you're supporting Hamas. No, I should be able to condemn what Hamas did. What Hamas did was absolutely wrong. And I've always said that the hostages who are caught in Gaza should be returned home. Now we know a lot of the hostages have been returned home, but has there been a ceasefire in Gaza still? No, there has not.
Mhm.
So I'm always just thinking about things in the best way for humanity. Again, I'm not pro Israel, I'm not pro Palestine, because you get people that are super pro Palestine that, God forbid, the Hamas does something wrong, you can't even condemn what they did. And you get people who are so pro Israel that, God forbid, you say anything about Netanyahu, then what you should be able to say, what Netanyahu is doing is wrong. He's a war criminal. These are 70,000 people, living, breathing people like you and I. Like, if you could condone the killing of innocent people like that, then you have, to me, you have some moral issue.
Um, the Ukraine situation.
Russia is just like a war criminal as well. Yeah, yeah. Putin. Yeah, Putin is a. So I basically, yeah, I stand with Ukraine. I'll just say that I stand with Ukraine.
Okay, so if you were elected, or should I say when you're elected
Hmm.
to Congress,
Hmm.
and the Congress has a Democratic majority in the House,
Which we probably will, most likely.
would you
Oh,
vote for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker?
would I want Hakeem Jeffries to be the speaker? I feel like Hakeem Jeffries. What? No, no. I would say not that I'm saying he's bad, but I think there's other people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC who could lead the party more.
Okay, so one last question. Do you consider politics theater?
A lot of it, yes. A lot of it, yes. And that's why I'm trying to change kind of rebrand politics as it is. But yes, it's a lot of theater, especially with the Trump administration. But there's theater on both sides. But like, definitely with the Trump administration, yes, it's become even more of a theater with just like everything. I mean, and AI makes it even worse. It's like they put like these false AI videos out, and it's just like, and people do stuff for theater. Like, people are like, you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was nothing about. She wasn't about anything, like no actual policy. She was just all about political theater. So yeah, definitely, 100%.
So if somebody wants to participate in your campaign or send you a donation, how could they do so?
They can do so by going to www.kylelittleforcongress.com. I have a movement that's called Power of the Dollar. Because again, I'm not accepting APAC money or any like large corporate PAC money. Excuse me. But I always say, like, there's in my district alone, there's over 200,000 Democratic voters. If everybody sent me a dollar, just $1, that's $200,000 right there that I can raise. Now, of course, the more you send, the better it is, because when campaigns raise money, campaigns are able to do more. It's more you're able to get your outreach and your name out there a lot more. So the more money, the better. That I have to campaign, because I really feel that I'm the candidate that's going to push this district forward the best way possible. Because again, all these people want is a pay grade. They never had the courage to even go against the establishment to begin with.
Mhm. So thank you so much, Kyle. I look forward to talking to you again, both about your campaign and my interest in physical fitness.
Okay, yeah, for
Eh,
sure, for sure. And
So,
are you in? Did you say you were in New York? Are you in Albany?
yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So you've been listening to Kyle Little, who's running. What district are you running in?
So I'm running in New Jersey's 12th congressional district,
Okay.
and I love it. It's one of the most diverse districts across the country. So when you talk about, diversity, like that's what New Jersey's 12th district is, and that's what it's all about. And I am happy that I am able to have the capital, Trenton, New Jersey, the capital of New Jersey in our state. So I want to do so much more with the city of Trenton because I feel like when you have the capital of a state, the capital should be somewhere where everybody wants to go to. And right now, nobody wants to go to Trenton. We don't even people that live in this state don't want to go down to Trenton. So I'm like, I wanna help build the city up, make it somewhere where it's like, a tourist location almost, like somewhere where people are able to come and have a good time.
I'm glad you brought that up. I live in Albany, and
Hmm.
Albany is not exactly the most terrific place to be.
Yeah.
Would you say your capital is the same way?
Uh, uh, Probably worse. Probably worse because Trenton is like run down. It's one of the poorest cities in the state of New Jersey. Um,
Really?
yes, there's a lot of abandoned buildings there, and unfortunately, there's a lot of systemic racism there. I mean, Trenton is a predominantly Black and Hispanic city, and it's just underfunded and they don't have the resources or anything, So they definitely. I definitely want to work a lot with Trenton, work with the mayors and the mayor and the city council men and women there, and just help and from a congressional standpoint, I can help bring federal funding into the city itself, but I definitely want to build that city up for sure.
Wow. Thank you, Kyle. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. You've been listening to Kyle Little. I'm Cynthia Pooler. This is Focus on the Candidates. And if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Kyle, I'm sure we'll be talking again. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a wonderful weekend.